Alright, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Each Adventure channel. My name is Josh, and it's been a while. This is actually my first time riding a dirt bike in over a year, and my first time riding anything with two wheels in a couple months. But that's actually not what this video is about. This video is not about me or what I've been up to. I'm going to do another video talking a little bit about that, but this video is actually about my son Alex. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and go on a little ride here in El Mirage. I try to get back to this spot so I can maybe do like an in-person camera, but it is so freaking windy here. I try to make it a little bit more personal because, as you could probably tell by the title and thumbnail of this video, that the topic that we're going to talk about is a little heavy. So we're going to go ahead and just cruise around El Mirage, follow this trail. This trail makes a big loop around El Mirage, and just kind of talk about some things that have been going on over the last month or so. Some big things in my family's life. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so if you've been around on the channel for a while, or if you know me personally, you know that I do have a couple kids. I have 3 boys. My oldest is 18, my middle one is 15, and my youngest just turned 9. And so I got a wide range of different things going on at my house at all times. But yeah, and so the older two, if you've been around this channel for long enough, you've probably seen them featured a couple times. We did a couple snowboarding trips, and then when my oldest one was younger, I took him on a couple rides. I think we had a couple videos of that. And then for my middle son Alex, I think it was around like early last year, we went to like a Friendsgiving thing with my buddy Matt out at Stoddard Valley, and I brought him with me, and he did really good. Like he really surprised me to the point where I was scared to watch him ride because he had like no fear. He's always had really good balance, kind of picked things up pretty naturally. Like I remember when he was younger, I put him on a skateboard and he had like really good balance. He taught himself how to rollerblade, picked up riding a bike on his own, and when he jumped on the dirt bike, I could have sworn he had been riding for way longer than one time before that. So there's a video, I'll go ahead and link that video if you want to go ahead and check that out. But yeah, so like I said, this video is kind of all about Alex, and just a big life change that happened to us about a month ago. So I want to say like around late February, early March, Alex kind of developed this cough. It was a really slight, like dry, kind of weird sounding in a way. It was kind of like and didn't think anything of it really. It's about that time of year where kids start getting sick. My oldest one had just been sick like a few weeks prior to that. He had gotten something and then went away, and he got something else and went away. So I figured it was just kind of working its way through the household. I had been sick at one point in time earlier in the year, so I figured whatever it was, he kind of caught whatever it was that we had. I think it's this way. And so the cough kind of persisted. It would get a little bit better, and then it would get a little bit worse, and then it would get a little bit better, and then it would get a little bit worse. But it never really went away. So over time, it was just kind of getting, a little bit worse, and eventually got to the point where, we reached kind of around like spring break time for him, which I think was like late March. And he runs cross country. Cross country season's over, but they're doing track as well. And his coaches were starting to send him home. They're like, hey, dude, like, go home and rest or whatever. Like, we don't like that cough, and we can't have you spitting stuff all over the track, and it'd probably do you some good to rest. So they sent him home a couple times, and eventually got to the point where like it's not going away on its own, so maybe we should take him to the pediatrician. So we made an appointment, took him to the pediatrician, and pediatrician did kind of the normal doctor thing. There's like, most likely some kind of like mild bronchitis or something like that, so we'll go ahead and give him some antibiotics, and if it doesn't clear up in a week or whatever, go ahead and bring him back. And so they gave him azithromycin, so like a Z-Pack It's like a 5-day antibiotic, and that did like literally nothing. Didn't help really at all. And so that following week, we had a baseball game for my oldest son at Angel Stadium. Every year they try to do like a high school game against another high school team there at Angel Stadium before the season starts. And so we went to that, and he was telling us like, I actually feel better. Like I think I'm starting to feel better. And we're like, okay, well that's good. Like maybe whatever it is going away. And so the next day he ended up going to SeaWorld, and he was coughing the whole time there. And so we were like, okay, well, we need to bring him back in for an appointment, but we couldn't get him an appointment. So we're like, okay, well, we'll bring him to urgent care. My wife was going to bring him at the end of the week. And so on April 10th, which was a Thursday, he also had a dermatology appointment. So he had been on Accutane since the beginning of the year, I think late last year. And so like a lot of the stuff we thought like, like maybe there's like side effects from the Accutane, like maybe that's causing the cough. And he was like really tired and was complaining of like joint pain and like chest pain. The chest pain I could understand because he had been coughing like crazy by that point. So that morning when I was going to take him to the dermatologist, like he was like coughing like the worst I had ever seen it. And so I told my wife, and I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and take him to urgent care like after I take him to the dermatologist. And so I took him to the dermatologist, and we told them about the cough, and she was like, I don't know, like the Accutane like wouldn't cause that, like we've never seen it. Like it could cause like dryness, so you could have like a dry cough like from irritation, but you could kind of tell like clearly it wasn't that. So once that appointment was over, she's like, well, let's stop the Accutane for a little bit, see if the things get any better, and then let me know what happens after you take him to the urgent care. So we went home real quick and went to the urgent care. The urgent care was right down the street from where we live, so we went over to the urgent care, and I let the doctor there know what was going on. Like he's had this cough for a little over a month, won't go away. They gave us, zithromycin, and just, it won't seem to go away. He's on the Accutane, so we don't know if it's like a side effect of that. So that's kind of why we're here. And she's like, okay, well, our job here is to, see if we can send you home with something, or if you're going to need to go, to the ER, to the hospital. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, why in the world would we need to go there, And so they're like, what we're going to do is go ahead and do a chest x-ray and an EKG. EKG is like a heart test, just to test like heart functions. And so, they took him into the x-ray room, they did x-rays, did the EKG like in the little room that we were in. And then maybe like 15-20 minutes later, the doctor comes into the room and she's like, hey, Dad, can I talk to you for a minute? And again, like I'm thinking it's kind of weird, like she's calling me out of the room. And so she pulls me into the room and kind of like pulls out a chair for me to sit down. And like in my mind, like I'm still like not really understanding like what it is that's about to happen. And she was like, okay, she had an iPad with x-rays on them. And so she said to go ahead and sit down. And she's like, this is kind of what we're dealing with. So she shows me the x-ray. And like, I don't know what a good x-ray looks like from a bad one. And I was just like, what is it? And she's like, all right, well, all these little spots, there was a bunch of spots like in his x-rays in his lungs. She's like, all these little spots are nodules. So like nodules in the lungs, like growth in the lungs. And then like my whole world flipped upside down. She said, she's like, yeah, and it looks consistent with metastatic cancer. And like at that time, I didn't even know what that word meant. I don't even know if that's the actual word that she used, but as we've kind of been dealing with this and learning about this over the last month, I know a heck of a lot more about cancer than I ever thought I would. And yeah, like right then, like my whole world just darkness. Like I don't even remember what I said to her. Like I had tears in my eyes, obviously, and I was just like, well, what does that mean? Like what does that mean? Like I don't know what that means. And then she's just like, you need to get him to the urgent, like to the emergency room. Like, you need to take him to the hospital. And I was like, okay. And we're in Southern California, so one of the best children's cancer hospitals is here in Southern California in Loma Linda. So she's like, I recommend you take him here. I think I'm lost. I don't know where I'm going. But yeah, she's like, I recommend you take him here. I'll give you a minute. She's like, do you want me to tell your son? And I was like, well, no, no, I don't. But if you can kind of just give him like a more vague version, because honestly, like we still didn't know. Like that was kind of what they were guessing that it was. can go left here, just like get out of this sand wash. You know, but we didn't know for sure. But they seemed pretty positive there at the urgent care. Like that's what it was. Because I think she even mentioned that, you know, they had called like a specialist to take a look at it, just to, I don't know, get a second opinion or something. But I was like, yeah, I was like, how do you call my wife? Like, so called my wife, and I had to tell her basically what they told me over the phone. And like, I don't even know how I was able to muster the words. You know, basically it's just like, you need to get here now. Like, they found stuff in his chest x-ray and they think it's cancer. And man, what I had to hear on the other side of that phone call is something that I hope that I never have to hear again, and that I hope no parent, no person, nobody has to hear that. I mean, it's like it's the kind of stuff that you see in movies where, you know, someone gets some really, really bad news. It was like that. And so yeah, so we got in the car, basically took both cars because we didn't know what was gonna happen. Like, we didn't know anything. So we took him to the children's emergency room over there in Loma Linda. And let's go this way. And you know, checked in at the window. They're like, you know, what brings you in today? I was like, at the urgent care, like where I live. You know, they sent us over here. And like, okay, well, what did they send you over here for? And I just gave them the paperwork that they gave me. And basically what that paper said is that there was, you know, innumerable, basically meaning like not countable, nodules in his lungs, consistent with, you know, metastasized or metastatic cancer. And I just realized that I didn't explain what that meant for people that don't know. That term basically means that the cancer had originated somewhere else and then it had spread into his lungs. So yeah, so I gave them that paper at the ER, and they basically kind of brought us in right away, and then they got us a room right away, and then the doctor came in and started talking to us, and she wasn't quite sure how much he knew, and or really how much we knew either. And then she was just like, okay, like, and they were really good, like everybody at that hospital has been amazing, but she's like, okay, like, she asked if you know, we wanted him to know, and we're like, well, yeah, I mean, we're all hearing this together, like. And she's like, okay, like, you know, based on what we have, which was the printout, they didn't give the actual X-ray scan, they didn't give that to me, but based on the information that they had from, you know, the paperwork that I gave them, they're like, you know, it could be anything from no big deal to pretty scary. You know, the scary word that starts with a C is what she said. Kind of ease the shock a bit. And so yeah, so kind of long story short, we were there from noon, maybe like 1 o'clock to about midnight, and they were running various tests and scans on him. They did another chest X-ray, and then she came back after that, and she's like, okay, like, it could still be like something that was infectious, but you know, if it is cancer, then, you know, we don't think that it originated there. And then so they ended up doing a CT scan and some other kinds of checks and ultrasounds and blood work and all kinds of stuff, and it pretty much came to the conclusion that what he had was what they call a germ cell tumor. I won't go into really what that is or where it's located. You can look it up if you're curious, but basically he had a germ cell tumor that had basically spread throughout his whole upper body. I mean, into his lymph nodes, abdomen, lungs, like kind of up into his upper chest. And so they checked us into the hospital, and they removed the main tumor the next day, like literally the next morning. And then they started him on chemo about 2 days later. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. A couple days later. I can't remember exactly how many days later it was. That was a Friday, so Tuesday, so however many days that is. 4 days? Where are we? Oh, East Loop. All right. I don't know how I got off of it and then ended up back on it, but basically we spent about 10 days in the hospital because he had the recovery. I think I just saw a snake. He had the recovery from the surgery to remove the tumor, and then the first round of chemo, which goes for, it's like 5 full days of chemotherapy, and then he's on like an accelerated chemo program, so the full length of each round is 14 days. So it's like 5 full days of chemo, and then the weekend off, and then back at the clinic again on a Monday for like a smaller round of chemo, and then like x-rays on Friday so that they can look at it the next Monday. So we basically lived like either at the hospital or the clinic since April 10th. I mean, we've been home after those first 10 days, so he's been doing his remaining chemo rounds at the clinic that's there, but they're full day sessions. Like my wife and him are there all day long. So he just finished his 3rd round, the initial 5 days this last week. So I'm gonna try to get this thing up as soon as possible. This is Sunday. What is today? I don't even know what today is. My days are all blurred together. I think it's like the 16th, 15th or the 16th, something like that. The good news in all of this is that apparently germ cell tumors are a very treatable form of cancer even after they've spread. So if you know anything about Lance Armstrong, it's actually the same exact type of cancer that he had. Although Lance Armstrong's had progressed even worse. His had spread into like his brain and some other areas too. So we're lucky that with Alex it only spread into his lymph nodes and his lungs and looks like some areas in his abdomen. It didn't spread into any areas that they were a little bit more concerned that would have required probably some more aggressive treatment, which would have been like his liver and the brain. But yeah, it's the same type of cancer, same like there's like different subtypes of it. So it's been it's been quite the month. Especially that first initial week, it was like, and those first couple days, like not knowing what was going on, like not having any idea whether it was curable or not, like what it was that we were dealing with, like any of that stuff. But yeah, so it's a very treatable form of cancer. The doctors, when they basically had determined what it was, they were like, like we're going to start you on chemotherapy, like it's going to melt this stuff away. It's going to be, you're going to look back at this at some point and it's just going to be a distant memory. And so they're very optimistic about the treatment and it kind of clearing everything up. One thing they did say is that a lot of times the chemo doesn't always get the cancer that's in the lymph node. So if that is the case, then he'll have to have surgery to have them go in and remove those. But yeah, it's been, I don't even have words. Like, I think I'm still processing it. Like, it's been a little over a month. And, aside from him having no hair from the chemo and, the line sticking out of his arm from his PICC line, it's like he looks so much better than he did before we brought him in, because he was always really tired. And, we were just like, well, of course he's tired. Like, he runs track and, he's got to get up super early and, he's doing like 2 practices a day, plus he's on the Accutane, like of course he's tired. But after seeing how like this has already helped, heal him essentially, it's crazy to see the progress just in the 3 rounds in just a little over a month. And so they've done 2 different x-rays since then, and I'll try to throw those images up on the screen, but you can see like that from the initial x-ray, all the little like fuzzy white balls that are in the chest x-ray are all tumors. There was a ton of them, like everywhere. Compare that to the other 2 x-rays that they did, and then the first one was just like a couple weeks afterwards. But it's crazy to see the progress and just how much better he's feeling, because now, seeing him feeling the way that we know how Alex normally feels, and joking around and having like the energy levels that he normally has, it's just crazy that that's what it was that was affecting him. But yeah, so he's doing really, really good. If everything goes good with his blood work, he'll start his 4th full chemo round. So they're gonna do 4 full rounds and then 2 like smaller rounds of just one of the chemo medications. And so as far in terms of like the full treatment, we're about halfway through the treatment, assuming that he doesn't need more chemo or surgery. So like he's doing so good. Like I'm so proud of this kid. Like no question, like the strongest kid I know. Like I don't know how he was, you know, doing his practices and all the stuff that he was doing, knowing now that he was dealing with that and still like trying to live like a relatively normal life while that was like inside of him, like wreaking havoc on his body. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't know how he was able to do that. And he's been so like positive and optimistic throughout this whole thing. A couple days after we went to the hospital, he started like vlogging every day, talking about his journey and like just the different things he's feeling and like the procedures he's going through, and like leading into the fact that like, you know, he's fighting this battle and you know, kind of giving hope to other people that either are or may have to fight that same battle in the future. And what's even crazier to me than that has just been like the amount of support that he's gotten from so many people. It's mind-blowing, to be honest, because we have so many people that we know through just all the various things that we've done, like who my wife's met through her work, or who she's met through social media from like posting about like Disneyland trips and stuff with our kids, you know, to the people that she works with, to the different people that are in the baseball community and the cross-country families and stuff from his school. Like the amount of people rallying around behind Alex is just insane to see. And I'm gonna stop here for a second just because it's a nice view. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and show this. This was made by someone in our family, one of my wife's cousins. And so she made these and had, you know, us hand these out, you know, pray for Alex. Nothing is impossible. I'm gonna go ahead and keep on going. So that's super cool. Like, got a bunch of people wearing these. Some of my wife's friends and coworkers set up like a GoFundMe for him, which has brought in like an insane amount of donations. Like when I saw like what they kind of put for the goal, I was like, there's no way. And the amount of people that have donated to that. If any of you happen to watch this, like, thank you so much. Like, I never would have imagined that it would have gotten anywhere close to what it is. And then, like, through people that we know who also know other people, like, he's had some, like, really cool gifts, I guess you could say they are. As a family, one of our favorite artists is a person named McMahon. And he's been in a couple different bands, Something Corporate, Jack's Mannequin. And then he had his own solo, but not really solo project called Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. But anyways, he's on tour with the Something Corporate band. And so my wife's a teacher's aide, and one of her students that she had in her class last year, her mom was basically the sister-in-law to the guitar player for Something Corporate. His name's Josh. So she reached out to them, and they recorded him like a personal video of the whole band, like the whole band there. And Andrew McMahon had cancer when he was like 20 or 21 years old. He had leukemia. And so we all watched like there's a documentary about it called Dear Jack. I recommend anybody kind of interested in this whole topic, especially if you're a fan of music or just like recovery stories or anything like that, check out that documentary, because I remember watching it when I was, you know, 22 or whenever it first came out, because I've been a fan of theirs since I was, you know, just out of high school, like 18, 19 years old. And watching it again, knowing all of the terminology and all the stuff that they're doing to Alex is like, it brought it just to a whole new level of like not only appreciation for him, but you know, it's just like we're in this now. Like this is why he made the documentary, you know what I mean? Like to give hope, to inspire, like to let people know, especially younger people, that, you know, you gotta fight. And you know, it's gonna be a roller coaster. That's what his doctor said, or one of his doctors. It's gonna be a roller coaster, but you know, eventually you're gonna get off and everything's gonna be fine. So that was the first thing. And then just yesterday, I was already over here. just getting lost. Oh yeah, go back to what I was saying. So just yesterday, we had another family friend who knows some people that knows some people that basically got Kiké Hernández, which is one of the players on the Dodgers, my son's favorite player on the Dodgers. They were able to get in touch with him, and he gave Alex a pair of signed, worn batting gloves. They say like Hernández on them, which is insane. And then also like a Kiké Hernández bat, like one of those new like torpedo looking bats. So it's like a Kiké Hernández bat, also signed by him with like a message on it. I'll go ahead and put that up on the screen. I can't remember exactly what it says off the top of my head since I'm riding around, but at the very end it just says, and I know I got younger people that watch the channel, but you know, basically it just says F cancer, but not abbreviated at the end. And if you know anything about Kiké Hernández, like that's like total Kiké right there. So yeah, so that was freaking amazing. And just all like, you know, people have given us gift cards and, like I said, donations, not just the GoFundMe, just all kinds of help and support, you know, to help just make this fight a little bit easier. And it's been very weird because we don't like to usually ask anybody for anything. Even when people give us stuff, we're I don't know what the word I am looking for. It's like, it's hard for us to accept like gifts and stuff like that. And I think kind of reached a point, and it's a little sad, I guess, that, you know, it takes something like this to open your eyes to how much good there is in the world and how many good people there are in the world, like regardless of what's going on social media and what's going on in the news and all the division and divisiveness and all the crap that we have to deal with like every single day. You know, this world is filled with really, really good people. And you know, if anybody, you know, just wants to send their thoughts and prayers, you know, good vibes, whatever it is that you do in situations like this, you know, please keep those coming. You know, things are looking a lot better than they did, but we still got, you know, we're still battling, we're still fighting it out. And just knowing that we have this like army of people behind us just helps make that fight a little bit easier. So man, I'm getting a little teary-eyed through all this stuff. So but yeah, I had been wanting to start making videos again. I had posted those couple posts on my community page, just like, hey, you guys want to see videos, or you guys sick of me by now? And most people said more videos. It sucks that, you know, these are the circumstances that have to be the first video back after a long break. But to be honest, man, like I'm motivated by my kid. Like I said, it's the toughest kid that I know, and you know, if he could be sick with this cancer that he's fighting, and he can post videos every day and be a light to, you know, other people that might need it, and bring that positive energy, I feel like I have an obligation to do the same. And it's so weird, like the timing of all of this stuff, because I know Everride just posted that video, that relatively long video about being a light in the world, you know, that we kind of have an obligation to do that. Like, I know, like, I'm just a dude riding a dirt bike, but I know from comments that I've gotten in the past, like, people say, like, you inspired me to ride after, you know, XYZ amount of years, or, like, with my other channel, like my coding channel, people have left comments like, thank you so much, I was struggling with this, and this is the only video that's helped me figure this stuff out. You know, I think the world needs more of that. I don't know. It already been kind of hitting me. I think once I turned 40, like midlife crisis kind of stuff, the impermanence of everything. But I think even more so now, it's like a giant wake-up call where it's just like, how is it that I want to spend the rest of my life, you know? I don't know. we're getting way off topic here, but like I said, I'll make another video kind of talking about where I've been and maybe more of these type of thoughts. But I kind of wanted to just get out here, get out on the bike, do kind of an old-fashioned motovlog since we haven't done one really in a long time, and just kind of talk about what's going on and help send more positive vibes and prayers and all that stuff. You know, just send more of it Alex's way, you know. So if you made it this far, I just want to say thank you, not just for watching but for supporting the channel. This is hard, man. It's the hardest thing I've ever had to go through, and I know it's him fighting the battle, but it affects everyone in different ways. And like, just, you know, knowing that my family has to go through this, like my wife, my other kids, like my parents, you know, my extended family, my wife's extended family, like, it affects everybody. It's not just him, you know. We're all fighting it together, and you know, he's got this. He trusts that God has his back, and I trust the same. So yeah, just one last thing before we wrap this up, because I know people will probably ask about the GoFundMe. Like, if you do want to help out, I'll go ahead and post the link to the GoFundMe down in the description. There's some pictures of Alex in there, and basically the story of what I told at the beginning of this video. So if you want to help out, that's probably the easiest way to do that. But if you have any other ideas, you know, please feel free to either leave a comment letting me know, you maybe DM me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest way I would see it. Oh, these whoops are massive. Oh God, I can't even think because they're so big. But yeah, if you have any other ideas, let me know. You can email me. I'll probably see it. I'll try to monitor the email a little bit more. I've just been so not focused on the channel that I haven't really done anything with the email. Like, I think my website's like broken. All this stuff. So that'll all be coming back. But gotta work through this fight first. So I will be posting more. I will let you guys know how things go as we progress through the rest of this journey. But if you do want like updates, like I said, my son has been vlogging about this every single day, so you can check out his channel, which is called The Park Place Adventures. It's like a theme park channel, but he's been just posting personal stuff on there lately, so I'll link that. But he mainly does like short form stuff for the updates, and some of them he can't post on YouTube because they're too long, and so he posts all of his updates on TikTok first. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, I'll link that down in the description below. So if you like or use TikTok, or at least just want to follow him and, you know, see how he's doing, see how his journey's going, go check his stuff out there. And that'll pretty much do it for this video. And yeah, this one's going to be a long one, so like I said, if you made it to the end, thank you so much for riding along with me today, and let me use you as my personal therapist. You know, like I said, we got a lot of support, but yeah, you know, talking about it out loud helps. So again, thank you so much for riding along with me today, and until next time, be sure to have fun, take care, and ride safe. And I will see you all in the next video. Until then, be sure to get out there and have adventures of your own. I have not said that in so long, and it feels good to say it. Get out there. You never know. You never know what's going to happen, man. And yeah, get out there. If you're wanting to get out there, you got to do it. Don't wait until it's too late. Whew. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks for watching the video. If you liked what you saw, please let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button. If you are new here, please subscribe to see more adventures just like this one. For information about my riding gear or the various ways you can help support the channel, please check out the links below or head over to www.eachadventure.com. I'll see you in the next one.